discussion was about how retirement will change. Retirement is when people stop working. The retirement age in European countries is around 60. We say a person retires. To retire means to stop working. And a person who is retired is a person who has stopped working. They are called pensioners. A pensioner is a retired person who receives weekly or monthly payments from the state. The money a pensioner receives is called a pension. So why and how will things change in the future? The average lifespan is increasing. A lifespan is the length of a life. So people are living longer. We call this longevity. This increasing longevity is having a negative impact on public finances and living standards. Public finances are the money a government has to spend on its services. And living standards are what we call the general level of life in economic terms. There is more pressure on social security systems in Europe. A social security system of a country is the system of a country has to support the members of its society. For example, sick, unemployed, or retired people. Economists, these are economic experts, question the sustainability of the European social model. That is, the social security systems of European countries. The sustainability means the ability to continue doing something. Because welfare standards in Europe are high, welfare is the economic assistance a government provides for people in need. So, people need to plan ahead. To plan ahead is a phrasal verb. That means to make plans about something that will happen in the future. Well, that's all from me. Take care, and I'll see you next week for another edition of Let's Talk. Good afternoon, and welcome to this week's edition of Sports Special. With me in the studio is John Forbes, our sports expert.
Hello, Eric, and good afternoon to all our sports fans.
Well, John, which sports are you going to talk about today?
I'd like to talk about sumo.
Interesting. I must say I know something about the martial arts, karate and judo, but sumo? I know almost nothing. Those enormous guys, their unusual hairstyles, their colorful and rather unusual clothes. So, please tell us more.
Well, Eric, you know sumo is a martial art too, and it's Japan's traditional national sport. In fact, it's one of the world's oldest sports. It was first mentioned in a Japanese book more than 1,000 years ago, but experts believe it might be much older.
Really? More than 1,000 years old?
Yes, and you know there are also ancient wall paintings showing the sport. Archaeologists think prehistoric man may have done sumo as a form of prayer to the gods for a good harvest.
I think most people in the West watch these enormous wrestlers without appreciating these ancient traditions.
That's right, Eric. Sumo isn't just a sport. It's more a way of life, and it's played an important role in Japan's cultural and religious history. In Japan, successful sumo wrestlers are looked up to as role models and heroes by many people.
How does a sumo match work?
Two men meet in a ring that is about 4.5 meters across. The aim of the game is to force your opponent out of the ring or make a part of his body, apart from the soles of his feet, touch the floor. A bout can last just a few seconds or as long as 3 minutes. Sumo wrestlers are very big, but they can move very quickly.
Do you think I could be a sumo wrestler?
Well, if you put on 100 kilos, maybe yes. Sumo wrestlers start their training when they're young boys. If they show promise, they go to live in a traditional Japanese house called a sumo stable. The young boys train a lot and look after the older wrestlers. They prepare their food and clean their rooms for them. Everyone in the sumo stable eats a lot. They eat lots of noodles, rice, fish and chicken. The traditional dish is called chankanobi, and it's made with fish, meat and vegetables. The wrestlers eat this with lots of rice and they drink lots of beer too. Then they go to sleep.
So, that's how they put on so much weight.
Yes, the secret is to eat a lot and then sleep. This helps the wrestlers put on weight.
And the wrestlers' hairstyles, where do they come from?
A good question, Eric. There are lots of different ranks for sumo wrestlers. The best wrestlers are in the top rank. The style of a wrestler's hair depends on his rank. All the hairstyles come from samurai traditions. Samurai were traditional soldiers in Japan.
Interesting. I guess it's difficult for a sumo wrestler to find a girlfriend?
Actually, it's not that difficult, Eric. Successful wrestlers usually go out with beautiful models or pop singers.
Where can you see tournaments in Japan?
There are 6 grand sumo tournaments called Basho every year. They take place during odd-numbered months like March or July. The Basho take place in Tokyo and Osaka, Nagoya and Fukuoka.
Thanks, John, for a fascinating explanation of these rather mystifying sport. We found out a lot about sumo. Thanks, John. Goodbye. And goodbye to all our sports fans. See you next week for another edition of Sports Special. So, today we found out about a martial art called sumo. A martial art is an art of self-defense without using weapons, just your body. To find out about something means to learn new information. We found out that in Japan, sumo is more than just a sport, it's a way of life. People look up to sumo wrestlers. They are heroes. To look up to someone means to respect and admire them. A sumo wrestler is a man who practices sumo. Sumo wrestlers are very fat, and they have particular hairstyles. We found out that their hairstyle depends on their rank. Notice how we say depends on something. A rank is a position on a scale. The best wrestlers are in the top rank. And I was surprised to find out that sumo wrestlers go out with beautiful girls. To go out with someone means to have a romantic relationship with someone. What about you, ladies? Would you go out with a sumo wrestler? And you guys, would you put on 100 kilos to become a sumo wrestler? We say put on weight. This means become fatter. Actually, to put on so much weight, sumo wrestlers start training very young. If a boy shows promise, this means he shows ability at the sport. And what is the aim of the game? The aim is the objective. In football, the aim is to score a goal. In sumo, the aim is to force the opponent out of the ring. The opponent is the other person playing. The ring is the square platform where wrestlers and boxers fight. A wrestling or boxing match is called a bout. Sumo tournaments take place in odd number months. An odd number is a number that isn't divisible by 2. For example, 1, 3, 5, 7. 2, 4, 6, 8 are even numbers. An even number can be divided by 2. I have to leave you now, but see you here next week for another edition of Sports Special.
Now let's watch the whole episode together. Watch the subtitles carefully because the language points that we studied together are highlighted. All right? Enjoy your viewing. Hello again and welcome back to English Today. And this is DVD 15 and the 3rd DVD of your upper intermediate level. And in this DVD, we'll begin with another 2 episodes of our story, That's Life, followed by our special TV programs where we'll be talking about the option of working in retirement. And then our sports expert will tell us about sumo wrestling, fat and fast. Then in the grammar section, we'll learn how to use a grammatical form called the causative have, and also how to construct the past perfect tense. All right, so happy viewing. Hello again. In this lesson, we're going to learn a new grammatical form called the causative have, which is very similar to the passive form and is used when someone offers us a service. Let me give you an example. Every month, I have my hair cut. I have my hair cut. Okay, so that's an example of the causative have, which we'll study together later. But first, our story. In this part, Anne has arranged a holiday with her closest old college friends. It's summertime. So let's go and join them.
Hello? Anyone home?
Anne, it's great to see you.
Hi.
Oh, you look great.
Oh, thank you, Paula. You look well yourself. And this house is so untidy and so dusty. I know. Let's give this place a good clean. The others will be here in a minute. Let's get started straight away. Right. Before you know it, we'll have cleaned and tidied everything.
You haven't changed, Anne. Cleaning, dusting, tidying. It's just like when we were at university. Can't you think of anything else?
Oh, look who's talking. Always strumming away on your guitar. Come on, pal.